Okay, so hello to you. I hope you have been doing well. It's been long since when we have done this series of devotionals. Today I am going to read a short story from the life of Jesus and talk about a principle which could be very controversial or provoking to some. And I don't mean to provoke you, but it's also very meaningful and deep if you receive it correctly. And it's life transforming. Let's start with the story. It's found in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 12, verse 13 onwards. And I'm reading it from the Bible. And this is the context of the story is Jesus, 2000 years back, when he came into Israel, he was walking around doing miracles, teaching people things which possibly they had not ever heard of. He was teaching about grace, he was teaching about unconditional love, he was teaching about mercy. And he had a lot of opponents on the scene, but it appears from the stories that the opponents had tough time getting, making Jesus, proving him wrong. That was there, because he was a gentleman, he was a merciful, gracious, but true and right. He was God manifested as a man. So here is the story. Then sent to him some of the Pharisees and some of the Herodians to trap him in his talk. And they came and said to him, Teacher, we know that you are true and do not care about anyone's opinion, for you are not swayed by appearances, but truly teach the way of God. So, great introduction, great conversation opener, but here is where it gets to. There is a tough question being asked. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar, who was the king at that time, or not? Should we pay them or should we not? Now, this was the trapping question, because there were two parallel governments there. One was the religious government, where you had to pay your taxes to God, in a sense, bring your offerings to God. But on the other hand, there is a political government where you pay your taxes to the government. And he's being asked the question, should we pay our taxes? Because Romans were basically not worshippers of Yahweh, the Jewish God. So what should we do? And but knowing their hypocrisy, he said to them, why put me to test? Bring me a denarius, which was that currency at that time, and let me look at it. And they brought one, and he said to them, whose likeness and inscription is this? Whose image is on this coin? We do have our images in our coins too, so likewise. And they said to him, Caesar's, the king's. Jesus said to them, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, which is money, and to God the things that are God's. And they marveled at him. And here is the interpretation, the right way to understand this story. Bible tells us that man was created in the image of God. That's an amazing thing that separates man from any other creatures. There is, in this creation, in this living world, we see order. In the highest order of the living beings exists the person whom we call God. He is the greatest living being. He was never created. And there are distinctions. Like we see, there are various kinds of animals, and in the living kingdom, in the living being, there are distinctions. But there are categories. And the distinctions within the category are are of one degree. But when you move from one category to another, the distinctions are absolutely a world apart. So here is God, the first order in creation, first degree. He's uncreated, eternal being, all powerful, most intelligent, beyond any other created being. That's God. He's a person. He's a loving person. He's omnipotent. He's omniscient. He knows all things. He has always existed, and he's ever present. He's right near you today. That's God. Then there are angelic beings. They are spirits. They are very powerful. They are very much beyond us. We can't see them most of the times. People have occasionally experienced certain supernatural stuff, and that's their arena. Then we come to this another order in creation, that's human beings. Humanity is totally unique. We are not glorified animals. We are not super intelligent animals. We are not evolved out of this whole plethora of animals. No, we are not. We are unique. The human beings are only beings in this whole universe who have families, who have relationships, who marry, who cry when people die. I mean, a lot of things. I don't want to get into that subject at the moment. And then there is the animal world, and then there is plants, and then there are material beings. Material beings are obviously cannot be termed in the living beings. Now, here is the thing. Man was created in the image of God. That means, now when we talk about image carries a lot of similarities. So in some ways, we human beings are similar to God. But there are image is in the lower order. Image is in the lower order. The image has lesser dimensions than the real being. So, which means that when we were created in the image of God, we are lower. Like, even though we have some similarities, we are moral creatures. We are creatures of decisions. We make good or bad choices, and in those senses, we have some kind of similarity with God. But also, in the order, we are very, very low. Image has much lesser dimensions. So here is the thing. Jesus is showing them the image of Caesar on the coin. Who does this coin belong to you? To. You have money in your pocket. Who does it really belong to? It belongs to the government. It belongs to the Caesar, because Caesar's image is on that. So if Caesar asks you to pay a tax, please pay the tax. Right? And likewise today in our system, like, we don't cheat. We live an accountable life. However, there is somebody's image on you. Whose image is on you? God's image. So what belongs to God, give it to God. You belong to God. You are God's. This is amazing. For a few moments, I'll talk about idolatry. Bible, from the beginning to end, seriously questions and condemns idolatry. Idolatry is making God, creating God based on our human imagination, and Bible condemns it. Whether it is in the form of any creatures, whether it is any human resemblance, any form of idolatry. We are not called to worship any images. We are called to worship God. Not even an image of Jesus. Nobody's image. Because God cannot be captured in an image. God is much higher. Whatever best image you will make, whatever best statue you will make, you can never depict God. So you ought not to worship the image. There is a problem with idolatry. In idolatry, we tend to, there are two things about God which Bible depicts. God is a good God, but God is also a severe God. Because God is good, people like God to be in their closet, right? Because He will bless me, and that's the essence of idolatry. I want to get something, and that's why I'm keeping this image. But God is also severe God. He doesn't like to be kept in the images. He likes to be worshipped the way He is, and a man ought to worship. And in true worship, which is outside idolatry, you don't connect with God to get something from Him. You connect with God to offer yourself to Him. You belong to Him. Give it to Him. You know, it's not a bad deal, by the way. It's you find your greatest man will find his greatest satisfaction in worshipping God, giving himself to God. I'll continue this thought tomorrow. My time is over, and we'll take it up tomorrow. But until then, have a great day. God bless you.